It's all been leading to this. The fight before Christmas is A, gonna continue on schedule, B, finish before Christmas, and C, conclude in this best of 7. Before we get into this, I want to give a big thank you to our sponsors, Cooler Master, aka CM Storm. You guys have no idea how big of a deal it would be, how much it would mean to me. If you guys have been enjoying this tournament, go tweet at them on Twitter at CM_esports and thank them for supporting Base Trade TV. Alternatively, too, if you guys are looking for some Christmas stuff and some gifts, they're currently out of stock on a lot of their chairs, but I know for a fact new stock is coming in soon. Chairs for Gaming is a DX Racer retailer in North America, Canada, and the United States. Get free shipping. Check it out, guys, and of course, you get $20 off if you use promo code BaseTradeTV. That being said, there's $3,000 in the pot for this best of 7. $2,000 is going to go to first place, $1,000 to second. I'm going to see where this money goes. Spawning in the bottom left, it's the blue Terran player, YoDa Prime.
Nipper writes, Oz, the green Zerg, Samsung Galaxy's Solar.
And we awkwarded up the colors. We almost got red and blue again. I'm sorry, colorblind friends, but it is Zerg versus Terran, so I'm hoping you can distinguish this one a little more easily.
Yeah. Want to note that we actually have a, what would we call this, a clan friendship?
Alive, yeah.
Yeah.
Because in Korea, they know it's a live game.
Basically a team kill, right?
Well, I guess kind of, yeah. YoDa, by the way, interesting placement of this racks. Scouting information would be completely sent awry here. If Soldier had come with a drone, he would have thought, oh my god, it's 2 racks.
Yeah.
And perhaps would have overreacted. It's not a big deal, but it's something that's really cool and really subtle. I like it. Yeah,
we were talking about this a little bit earlier yesterday, I think, about how Tange used to do this almost every single time. But he would place racks in an odd position, and it would freak the Zerg out. Either they drone scouted or the Overlord finally scouted. It would also be able to snipe the Overlord, because the Overlord would, well, it would sink, well, first of all, it'd be Reaper Expand. It's not, it's Marines. And second of all, that it has to go in just a little bit further to check, like, okay, was it a 2 racks or wasn't it? Or where's the CC? And that's when, bam, the Marines kill the Overlord. Well, Solar doesn't actually go in that far. Solar didn't even check the natural. That's usually what you have to do, right? You see no barracks, you check the natural. You might just be assuming that, no.
I think at this point, if you haven't seen anything at your own base, you can.
That's true. Yeah, he hasn't seen any STV walk up here, so he's kind of, I guess he's calling it, right? He's like, YoDa went for the oddly placed racks.
Well, I was going to move this back up here, and it's not gone for too long. Did get 4 Marines out, and this is a lot of Marines to see early, so I'm really wondering if this is going to be the, okay, let's push with Hellions Marines, you know?
Maybe. I think that would be a nice follow-up to it. You know, of course, with this type of build, you get just a little bit nicer on the economy. You know, CC's a little bit faster, but you get rid of the Reaper, so that's the lack of scouting. You know, some players, some circlers might see this and be like, okay, well, I'm going to all in. Others, not so much. And YoDa's been pretty good about scanning in all matchups, so he's one of the Terrans that instead of being like, whoever scans the mules, please, he might actually scan, just in case.
Well, you know, it's funny about scouting all-ins too. I don't know that Solar's the guy we really see do a lot of the Ling Roach all-in for faster through CC. He's not really a guy we see do a lot of the just straight up Banling moves. He does seem to like his macro games in every instance we see him, and even again, this guy has played against some of the best Terrans in the world and gone toe to toe with folks like Tasia, you know, IEMs, won DreamHacks. YoDa's a really formidable opponent. But I like that Solar is playing this, yeah, not really risky by calling that bluff, but more like smart. Not overreacting to something he, you know, doesn't confirm for sure. We talk a lot in StarCraft 2 about how the lack of information is a lot of information, but he doesn't actually fall for it. And, I mean, just to start the series off with that, maybe I'm overhyping it a little bit. I actually really enjoy the decision making here out of our Zerg player.
Looks like I thought YoDa, when he put the starboard down, was going to go for the medevac drop, as you called it, but he doesn't have 6 Marines, much less 8. So it's going to be a Banshee, swap over that Tech Lab on the barracks. Yeah, there you go. So Banshee, Hellion, and Overgrowth, what else is new? Just started off a little bit weirder. Now Solar, he won't be able to really scout this. Again, there are 2 Marines on each position. They're on top of the Overlord. They know where the Overlord is. No way Solar's going to get in there. The Overlord will die first. But it's a good guess to make. Like, at least 1 Spore Crawler to cover 1 base, I think is worth it. Even if it isn't a Banshee. Oh, well. Maybe he'll need a spine crawl in a base, because these Hellions just run right past those queens.
That's going to be a bit of a problem. Now, he can pull some of the drones out. We oftentimes see players will pull 2 or 3 at a time, but he's going to stack them to run away, and oh, yeah, he's got to sacrifice a few for the greater good.
Yeah, greater good, my friends.
That really could have been much, much worse. 7 SCVs, or sorry, 7 drones are they're dead still. It's not a great number here for Solar.
No, I don't know, though. Okay, so he's going to be followed up with mech. Right, YoDa. So in that case, getting rid of Hellions, no big deal. No big deal at all. You're going to have a lot of Hellions to give away in this game. The first 4 isn't usually that big of a deal, especially with the Banshee popping out. But it could have been harassing that 4th, or the 3rd. 4th. It could have been harassing that 3rd this entire time, getting the drones over there, getting the Banshee over there. The Banshee just walks past a couple of queens, so it takes a lot of damage before even really, like, using itself. And with support clothes everywhere, it shouldn't do much at all. I wanted to note that Solar never got speed for his Lings. Or no, he did get speed for his Lings, but it wasn't as early as he could have. I guess it finished up like 30 seconds ago. So that's why we saw slow Lings chasing those Hellions. He went just a little greedy by not doing so. But now he is going for Ling speed and Ling upgrades. And he's going to be probably, not useless, but it is against mechs, so Lings won't be that useful.
Well, with the Hellions roaming the map, there are quite a few of them, and at this point of the game, like, you'd really expect to see something else, whether it's roaches or those faster mutas, but just a lot of the Lings and Queens. Gonna try and hold on to this.
These all turn into Hellbat, oh god.
Yeah. I mean, if there's Banelings too, but the Banelings isn't done. For the sake of Solar here, you might be better off just giving up the base. I mean, it's just gonna try and cut away. Transfusing the Queens as desperately as he can. He's got 6 here to fight with. I mean, this is no small number of Queens, but yeah, the Lings just get fried alive. They don't really add a whole lot to this. He's got to focus on the Banshees behind this. He can't really just shoot the Hellbats. YoDa's going to pull those Banshees back, keep them alive for later. It looks like Impact, or it's wrong Zerg players, wrong Terran players. Solar is going to hold the front.
Not really much damage done, and that was a much bigger commitment for almost nothing than those 4 Hellions in the beginning were. So not very useful at all. Now with that many Hellions, of course, Solar should recognize that it is mech. If he hasn't, gotten any other indication, that would be the first one. He's still going to go with a Spire, that's no problem. But the Lings, again, Hellions, they produce pretty quickly. They produce 2 at a time, 4 at a time, 6 at a time eventually. Lings are going to not do much at all come the mid-game. I don't know what he's expecting to do with these. Maybe more from all into Banelings? That's possible. Like, if you think they're going to go Hellbat Thor, Banelings killing the Hellbats can be very useful. Well, they all die, so never mind.
Yeah, right. Nice calls on it,
Yeah, sorry, God.
See back
a couple
in North
Banelings.
America.
A couple of the Banelings were like trying to prove they were like, yes, I'm totally gonna try, and then they died. Thanks for trying, man. But he does save some of the Lings, and he's still getting more. You have to think that this is exactly what he's gonna do. He has to know it's mech. There's been like 30 Hellions. It's gotta be for Banelings, for the eventual Hellbats. Meters are out. Roach Warren is done. No upgrades yet for the Roaches, or even a +2 Carapace. This is waiting on that one.
With all the Banshees here, this is a lot scarier than you normally think. If you can focus down the Queens fast enough, it doesn't matter if all the Hellbats die, because the Banshees will clean house afterwards. I mean, the mutas are coming, I guess, as a clock on how much damage you get done, but 4 Banshees. Man, that still was just a brutal trade on both sides, where YoDa's not really getting the damage for, like, the bang for his buck, so to speak.
Not when it comes to the Hellions, no. But the Banshees being still alive mean that they are.
Yeah, the potential, sure, but he's getting 3 of them chased down the middle of the map. It's not like he's running back to a Thor to protect these. I mean, there we go. 2 Thors actually here at the natural Funny Valley forward.
I was like, isn't he? Oh. He's been getting Thors, and it is the composition that you usually see in the mid game. The Hellbat Thor that can take down people who are going like trying to transition into tech just before they really get enough. So whether it's that many mutas or that many swarm hosts.
This Banshee, by the way, what a badass.
That one goes down. That one's dead. Definitely. And Solar actually commits to a +1 flyer attack, so if we don't see more mutas now, we could definitely see them later on. Right now, it seems to be all about those roaches. Again, unupgraded roaches. They only have that 1 Carapace helping them out, but still a lot of Banelings. He's going into Baneling speed. This is This is cool for like the first attack, or if they're not going to attack for the first like 16 minutes, but eventually they'll start adding in a lot of tanks, like a lot of tanks, and Banelings just won't be that useful.
Yeah, I really like YoDa's choice to put down so many turrets this early. Usually can't afford to do this, but yo, we didn't really touch base on this. Mech has been Solar's weakness recently. Of course, he played the Alima League monthly finals versus Gumio, best of 7 back then against another very notorious meching player. Ended in a bit of Solar on tilt, something we've never actually really seen to date. But I think he knows as well, this is a scenario where he can't let his opponent get 4 bases. Like, if YoDa gets 4 bases as mech, it's going to be so hard to kill him, like borderline impossible. So for right now, he's putting a lot of pressure, he's bulking up a lot of roaches, he's looking to go for these attacks before YoDa can get to that point.
If he makes a bunch of Banelings right now, it'll be a strong all-in, but it won't work, there's too many tanks. And then he won't have enough money and gas to transfer into Swarm hosts, which I think is what he's going to do with the Infestation Pit. So I don't know if he's ever going to really be able to use this Baneling speed, but he'll have it. He is still investing in a +1 melee upgrade, so maybe that's going to be for a Hive, and then the Ultras. Ultras usually aren't that great against mech, but again, I mean, we haven't talked about this guy in a while, so let's talk about him, like, B-Lord, right?
Man, that's some blast from the past. It wasn't even that long ago. Yeah, there's a player from South America named B-Lord, guys, who just, I don't know what it was. He had magic with Ultralisk. They could just crush everything and anything, and no other player could make it work. This wall not fully completed, but actually works out a little bit better because the links just funnel through a very terrible choke. But the roaches break this one here on the south side. We do have YoDa actually put out a new depot right away, trying to keep these roaches at bay. This one tank did a great job at defending this base.
Yeah. Yeah, and Solar is trying. He's trying something new. You know, I have not seen Solar go for the Ultralisk Cavern ever. Maybe once or twice a long time ago. Yeah, this is new. This is a different take on how he's gonna be able to deal with mech, and I don't even know if that's gonna work. YoDa's been really diligent about these walls. They're very helpful versus any unit, but especially Ultras.
Yeah, I'm loving the turret rings still, by the way. Like, I can't emphasize this enough. These mutas have not been able to do any damage really in the main this whole time, but I feel like the starport's maybe come down a little bit prematurely. I don't know if he can really afford the production off of this where he is, but he is trying to lock down that 4th now, so I guess it'll time out.
Yeah. If he can get a wall covering the 4th base ramp or the gold base ramp, it's going to be so good for him. He will be set on 4 bases, no problem.
You got a big engagement coming down, but I want to make this pun before it's gone. May the 4th be with him. Right now, he is going to try and take this defensive fight. The ground army is going to lose up straight, but I mean, the Mutas are still just dwindling. YoDa doesn't have anything to fear from this whatsoever.
Yeah, that was a... See, the thing about trading out is, like, yes, he's going up to Ultralisk, but unless you have a really big bank of both money and larva, a counterattack could be very, very scary. Now, YoDa is playing it very patiently, very passively. He's going to just be like, well, at least I took a good fight, now let me just go ahead and get a 4th base. And Ravens...
Yeah.
It's not always the funnest way to play, but it is, I suppose, the safest. So Solar will have that time to buy to get up to Ultras, upgrades. I mean, he's at 128 supply against 160, and apparently nothing's going to happen because of it. He's actually going to be able to buy time to get Ultras.
We could possibly summon 2 people at once right now. 2 birds with 1 stone. On one hand, we got enough mech going on, a Villa may pop up at some point, and on the other, if we get some Kappas going at the same time, we'll definitely see Nathanias creep around. It's the perfect scenario for both guys. Kappa Kappa. I'm sorry, chat mods. Forgive me. I like the Corvid reactors, actually. This is pretty cool. We don't actually see this usually come out too early, but it does make a huge world of difference when it comes to Ravens. You know, you talk about something like pathogen glands affecting infestors. Okay, a couple of fungos, usually not that big of a deal. But for Ravens, I mean, even their lowest cost energy thing, like a point defense drone, is insanely huge when it comes to fighting things like Ultralisks. Whereas infested Terrans, not so much.
I was just thinking, Solar's got to be so frustrated. Both times that he gets into the finals, it's so late and he's so tired, and he faces the damn mech player.
And it's within like the same week too. I think it was Saturday, right? Today's Wednesday. I mean, okay, maybe not the same week technically, but within 7 days, you've got to fight these 2 crazy finals with just abusive players. Now, to go for Ultralisk is not uncommon. It's not so weird, but what is going to work out nicely about this is, even though Secret Missiles bypass armor, and the Ultras, they got so much health they could take some Secret Missile hits, they don't share splash damage the same way a lot of other units do. So, as the Ultras come through to Swamp, if YoDa invests too heavily into the air, if he goes in too many Ravens, too many Vikings, and not enough Banshees or something, those Ultras will actually swamp this so very nicely.
I don't have much faith in ultras ever.
I usually don't, but then that's the time they seem to work out the best, right? We always talk about, like, if there's a good way to throw a game, it's go Ultralisks, but...
I feel like Silver have been pretty right on that. I'm just looking at this army, and, you know, maybe you could circumvent it on another map. Maybe you could circumvent it on a map or a player that doesn't have supply depot walls. But there's no place I'm looking at that I'm like, okay, you can definitely go down this ramp, kill these things, and do this damage.
Well, you know, one of the crazy things here is, first of all, I love the static defense coming out of Solar. You might not be going Swarm Host, but the same idea, you want to have that defensive line to fall back to. Secondly, he is actually going heavily into Infestors. I feel like we always talk about this, we never see it, where it's like, oh, you know what clumps up Ravens and Vikings? Why do no Zerg players ever go Infestors? And most of the time it's because the tanks zone them out really nicely. That's given. But with Ultralisks and Zerglings in play, the Infestors are not going to be the priority targets in this scenario.
If YoDa going up 2 battle cruisers, he is, he did that last time we cast him. He's been doing it, actually, I think 2 times last time we cast him. But kind of like Gumiho style. Almost exactly like Gumiho. You wait to get 4 bases, you start adding on some Ravens, then bam, Fusion Core. And then once you get to like 4 battle cruisers, it seems to be unstoppable. Like, actually, has not been beaten with him either.
So, here's something interesting. While I got this attack going on, I just had a friend link me some very interesting information. Somebody is, quote-unquote, illegally restreaming this to a Chinese streaming site. They got more viewers than us, guys! So we're gonna give it a quick hi, China.
Live game? Question mark?
Hi, China. Yeah, they've apparently got like almost 8K viewers on it or something. I can't click on it to look, but hi, China. Not sure if anyone speaks English, but yeah, there we go. So I mean, I really don't care if someone's restreaming this. More viewers on a good game, more viewers on the sponsorship logos. CM Storm, of course. You should probably just blow those up really big, right? Take up 80% of the screen. Just like temporarily be like, I'm not gonna do it actually.
I don't know.
There's too much going on right now. I can't mess around with it. Maybe later when we got no downtime, or we got downtime. But battle cruisers are on the way. Yamato cannon's on the way. All these things are on the way, but they're not here yet. So Solar's still got this window of opportunity. We can actually do a pretty good amount of damage. Oh my god, the infested Terrans. Oh my god, the command centers. Oh my god, this engagement.
He did find a position that wasn't covered by
the secret missiles.
Let's give him that one.
I was really hoping he was going to run those into the army, but even though you're burrowed, you can't escape the wrath of a secret missile. Lots of infestors die.
Okay, so that was awkward. The SimCity working against like both players, kind of, but still worse for Solar, as the Ultras are dying and they're not dealing. I mean, there's like, how many orbitals are there? There's 7 orbitals and a couple of more command centers that are about to finish up here. If he loses SCVs, it's a favor. He wants to get rid of them anyways. He's on 7 orbitals.
When you've got this many orbitals, you only need gas mining SCVs very strictly.
Oh, the poor Ultras.
Those
Can't even kill one Thor.
I know, all of them so barely alive.
God.
Right, well, that was Solar's big hit, though. I mean, he's got a little bit of bank left, sure, but I mean, he doesn't have any units. Like, he's building everything right now. And I don't know if what he's building is going to win in this game. Corruptors are necessary versus the battlecruisers when they're in low counts, but can he kill them off one at a time before they get to that critical mass of like 8? I mean, there's so many Vikings, there's so many turrets.
Yeah. No, probably not. Again, the best way to deal with this type of composition is usually somehow to waste all of the Raven energy while still being cost efficient, and then going in with as many corruptors and fungals as you can possibly have. And Solar doesn't have that big of a bank. He's maxed out, sure, and he is starting to get another bank, but it's just like, you need a lot of money. You need pulls into spore crawlers as well, really helping out, like slowly chipping away at the energy and the Viking count. And it's definitely impossible to do that through this area. This is going to lose all of his infestors. Like, he doesn't even fungal the Vikings that are here.
But if he moves the infestors underneath the Vikings, those secret missiles are going to friendly fire. However, they sit out in the open for Solar's sake. That's going to sting. He will take a decent air engagement, but it's not enough to clean this up. And this is that point where you have to cut the battlecruisers off at the pass. You have to stop them before they get to that critical mass.
Okay, well, yeah, he did take down a lot of the Vikings. The Ravens are pretty much out of energy. There are still 4 Thors, so the Corruptors won't be that effective. But maybe, like, if only he could get a position that he could start pulling the battlecruisers in his spore crawlers, he could start chipping away at this army, like, in a really, like, good way. But he keeps on attacking down a path that has no creep spread, so obviously no spore crawlers. It funnels into a choke every single time. YoDa's still looking quite unbeatable.
Man, I still this turret ring. It was such a weird investment to have early on, but it paid off so well. The Mutalisks from Solar never really did much of, well, anything, quite frankly. But we're coming to this late game scenario. The only advantage these Ultras really bring to the party is that they don't get killed by the battlecruisers too quickly. I mean, the battlecruisers have a lot of damage. The thing is, they attack faster than hard. So I mean, really, these Ultras that they're Katniss plating are not taking that much damage. It's the tanks, the Thors, and quite frankly, the Banshees that they're going to be worried about the most. And as we saw, he had so much trouble breaking those Thors.
Missile turret's doing kind of like twofold. They're protecting against a potential Muta swap later on, and they're also being the Sim City that just barely messes up the Ultra AI. I feel like I know how this game is going to end.
So do I. I'm just like, it's going to be that slow
forgive
bleed
the
up
non-hype.
for Solar. I mean, I would love for Solar to be the guy who breaks this somehow, who does this differently. But I mean, this is a scenario where we've seen all too often, and not just with Solar. There's just as good, if not better, Zergs in Solar that have died to mech builds. Life and Rogue come to mind immediately through IEM qualifiers and the MSI Beat It stuff. I mean, there's so many scenarios where we see people like Gumiho, like YoDa, take this abusive mech build to the max.
Yeah. Well, hey, now don't give away those gold minerals. We good.
Yeah. Hey.
If they get up to 4 battle cruisers and they have a decent Raven Viking count, it just seems like impossible. And one of the best and only ways you can really start chipping away is using the Viper abducts and the Spore Crawlers. But like, YoDa's not even anywhere near this part. Like, his army is not even touching that line. You can go around it if you really wanted to start attacking.
YoDa, by the way, happy to give away SCVs at this point. You know, the lower the count, the bigger the army supply. Solar needs to keep mining. He can't give away his drones. You know, his army supply is never going to match that of YoDa's. And I mean, YoDa is on 175 supply in army value. That is insane.
The thing is, though, is that you probably won't see YoDa or Gumiho when they do this push or this build push out. Like, almost always they wait for the Zerg player to go like, oh my god, this is so infuriating, let me attack, and then they die and then they push out. It's a very cruel way to play a game.
Yeah, to say the least. I mean, okay, so Solar's trying to take another base, which I think is cool. He definitely tried to take this once earlier. Problem is, like, his ceiling is opponent's base. Yeah, I mean, the tank covers the mineral lines, weirdly enough. But I mean, that aside, it's a base that it doesn't matter if he keeps mining from it. He's already got a sizable bank. Until he gets rid of drones, there's no way he can ever build an army that's big enough to take this on directly. Again, we keep referencing back to this, and I will happily do it again. The coolest attempt we've seen to break this unbreakable mech army was, Maro versus Ghost User in 32 Boys 1 Cup. Maro actually straight up sacrificed everything. Every queen, every Zergling, every drone dead, so he could make a pure Mutalisk army. He didn't quite get 100. But he got 95 Mutalisks, and it nearly wiped Maro out. Had he been able to remax again with a secondary flock of mutas, maybe that would have been the key. I don't know, but there's definitely weird approaches we've seen. Desperation and crazy moves trying to break this, because this is borderline unbreakable.
Oh, he does push out. Oh, Solar must be so happy. Just kidding, it's still kind of an unbeatable army.
The sarcasm, please.
Oh, that's a clumped up mech army.
Oh, fly into the army. He's gonna do it. The Seeker Missile's gonna friendly fire. Oh, actually killed the Corruptors a little too fast. That didn't quite work out for him.
Oh, the Fungals are so good. The Seeker Missiles were good as well. But look at this army. Look at Solar's army.
It's got 41 Corruptors. Are gonna be the remax here, by the way. Good game is gonna be called. YoDa will take game number 1 in this best of 7 finals. Well,